I recognize you looking at me for the pay cut. Bahamas, I be looking at you from the face down. One Mac 11, even boom with the bass down. Skimming, and let me tell you about my life.
I put a cease to the speculation. I put a cease to the speculation. I'm dedicated to seeing bombs getting detonated, miseducated. You a featherweight forever.
What's good? What's good out there, peoples, YouTubers, all my followers? As stated, as promised, I told y'all I was going to come to y'all with an exclusive review of that new Kendrick Lamar album. And for this review, I actually have a few special guests.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If you want to introduce yourself.
I go by the name of Dev Da Vinci, local Philadelphia artist. Raw Squad Entertainment is the movement. Holla at me.
And you, young lady?
Briss, Lil Briss. I'm just kidding.
Lil Briss.
Lil Briss.
In case you haven't noticed the resemblance, I would be Big Briss, and that's Lil Briss.
Resemblance?
Yeah. I call it T. So we are here to just let you folks know the reason why you need to make sure that you have the new Kendrick Lamar album. And before I get started on the album, I just wanted to check in with my man and find out what's going on with you right now, Dev Da Vinci.
Everything's good, man. Everything is roses. Still moving the Cerebral Assassin. Mixtape. You can get that on Bandcamp, devdavinci.bandcamp.com.
Really good album.
Thank you.
Good
Thank
album.
you, sir. I really appreciate the review, too.
Oh, yeah, of course.
If one person is moved by the music, I know I'm doing the right thing.
That's it.
And I appreciate your opinion. I honor it very much, so I appreciate all the love.
Oh yeah. You gotta support your Philly artists, and that's one thing that I love to do. And it's a great album, Cerebral Assassin. Make sure y'all pick that up by Dev Da Vinci. And Lil Briss, what's going on with you?
Nothing much, just trying to keep my ear to the streets like my dad.
Okay, all right.
Listen to it as much as I can.
All right, okay.
That's right. Thug life.
That's good. All right, so just right off the bat, this new Kendrick album, I must say, to Pimp a Butterfly, it's in my opinion, I think that it's amazing. So just on a first glance, first listen, what's your opinion?
Well, my first listen, amazing. I can't even put it in another word. Like, I was up maybe 6 o'clock in the morning when it leaked. Like, I couldn't sleep that night, so I was already up. So I left the bedroom, went downstairs, and I just happened to check my phone, and Twitter's going nuts.
Right.
Kendrick's joint is on iTunes. Bet, I'm on it.
Right, for me, I'm a night owl. So at 3 a.m. on my Instagram, scrolling on that giant Kendrick album drop, and I can't lie, I ain't get it right away. But I had to get on there on top of it. But as far as my first listen to it, it just was crazy. So I always gotta have that dissecting moment. Like, I listened to it, the whole thing, and then I really dig in after my second hear of it, and it's crazy. It's mad political at the same time, real hood, but you definitely have to be knowledgeable in order to grasp what it is that he's getting at.
Right.
Yeah, very much so. I noticed that too, and I noticed that there's a lot of spoken word aspects to it, which, as a lyricist, I really appreciated.
Right.
I was just like, okay, Kendrick,
Right.
I see you. I see where this is going. And like you said, it's one of those, you really have to dissect it. It's not one of those, you just kind of listen to it while you're doing something. You really have to sit down and analyze it. It's one of those analytical kind of.
But the one thing that I'll say about it, I can see that it is charged by the events that happened last year. with Trayvon Martin and the other things that happened. I can feel like the tension and the anger and the mode that he was in when he was recording it. So I can see that he was trying to help out the black community and not just the black community, but I guess the world in a whole. So shout outs to Kendrick Lamar for that. So what tracks kind of stand out to you?
Say the whole project, or is that not allowed? No,
yeah. I mean, like just right off the bat, got you.
Right off the bat. What's the name of it? What's the name of the opening track?
The opening track is called Wesley's Theory.
Wesley's Theory.
Right.
The way that song just started with the every nigga's a star, it kind of let you know where the album was going.
Right.
It was like, okay, if that's the first thing I hear, and I remember that sample because if you remember, the Roots used it on Tipping Point.
They did. You're absolutely right.
So it already put me in a mind state of, okay, he's going to be talking some stuff. And then the following voice after that is George Clinton. I said, okay, all right.
Yeah.
So that was definitely a standout for me.
Yeah, and I appreciate that too because it shows that he was getting to the point of when you make it famous and how we want to get material items and all that, and we ain't even sold up our taxes yet. So for me, I'm like, wow, okay, now I get it, Wesley's Theory. But just looking at the title, what I mean, you was like, oh, okay, what is he saying? But and I like that.
And you know what's funny? I didn't think about it until today, actually. When I was listening to it with my brother. Shout out to Rob Stashes too.
Yeah.
I was listening to it with my brother, and he said, wonder why he called it Wesley's Theory. And then at the end of the song, he was like, I'll do you just like we did Wesley before you reach 35.
Exactly.
And it was like,
there it is.
There it is. Wesley's Theory. Got it.
So what you got, T?
So for me, I think one of my favorite tracks is The Blacker the Berry because of the pure irony in that song. It's crazy. But as far as like what I grabbed the most from the album was that like his sense of community and how I think he epitomizes it in that song, The Blacker the Berry, how we all have some type of contribution to our community.
That's right.
Whether it's in the negative or the positive, we speaking all of these things like, oh, how can you do this to our people? How could you do this?
Right.
But right in turn,
we do
you add fuel to the fire.
Exactly. And he talks about Bloods and Crips and us bringing each other down. Where he talks about the different tribes in Africa, how they go to war with each other, you know what I mean? So really it's a lot of, he's talking about black on black, and he also talking about, you standing up for people like Trayvon and all of this. You see all these injustices, but still we contributing to them, you know what I mean?
Killing the bull around the corner from you for stepping on your block.
Exactly. So,
wearing the wrong color on the other foot.
Right.
The police, whoever's in authority, you looking at them like, how could you?
Right, exactly.
You would indeed do the same thing.
Exactly. So, now I talk to you. Give me a little bit of what you thought about the King Kunta, because we kind of briefly talked about that.
Yeah, that's my anthem. That's my anthem, because I really appreciated the metaphor of him, because it's like he took the Kunta Kinte metaphor and turned it into something that related to his rap career.
Right.
And I appreciated that so much because he is in a position of, arguably he has the number one spot. You can argue Drake and J. Cole and whoever. For me, out of the new generation, I think it was a Kendrick.
I give it to him and Lupe.
Yeah. Two incredible MCs.
Right, exactly.
And before I get into that, shout out to a lot of underground artists who are trying to speak a lot about, the things that Kendrick is talking about. But we're talking about Kendrick right now.
Right, exactly.
And that Kunta song, it just, first of all, there's something about that hook.
Right.
Something about that hook. Everybody wanted to cut the leg off from King Kunta. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of how you feel sometimes.
Well, you know what stood out to me in that song? Where he talked about how the
prison bars?
Well, no, not that, but the people he hanging around got ghostwriters. He like, like, where did you do that at? Like, before rappers wrote their own stuff. Like, I'm hanging around people that got ghostwriters, and you supposed to be that bold.
And that's what I was talking about, because he had the line, most of y'all sharing bars like you got a bottom bunk in the
exactly.
And I was like, okay. And it's funny because you do wonder, it's like, who's he talking to? Because he did say most of y'all. It's like, okay, you only deal with a certain group of MCs, so it's like, I know you ain't talking about Q and them, so
who is he talking about? So another track for me too. Of course, I love Philly. I'm so happy that Bilal made this album on two tracks actually. But institutionalized. Where when you think about being institutionalized, you think about prison, you think about jail. But not only that, he flips it and talks about how you institutionalize to the hood. And it's like, you keep going back to the hood. Like, you just cannot stop going to the hood. Like, regardless of whatever, how famous you are, how much money you got, you institutionalize. Like, it don't have to be prison. And I thought that was a nice track.
And I think that one thing that really stood out to me with him, with this album as a whole, to bring it back to institutionalized, I feel like he feels as though he has to speak in a manner that the black community doesn't have leadership anymore. There's no more Malcolms and Martins. We got Jesse Jackson. But I mean, but I'm saying that. I'm saying that half-heartedly. It's like, who do you really lean on to free you from that prison of the mind? And it's funny because the night before I listened to Kendrick's album, I was watching the Malcolm X movie. And Malcolm actually says that, like, I'm trying to free you from the prison of the mind. And
so on the way over here, we was listening to a track called You. So, once again, I mean, it's just an amazing track. The album is just amazing. I will say, and I talked to you about this, and I'll say it to you, like, the production, in my opinion, is what kind of is lacking for me, which you enjoyed, and I was having another discussion with somebody. It's new for the younger generation, but I was around when it was the G-Funk era, when Warren G was out.
But that's what I was going to say, what I liked about the production, because of the simple fact that it's not your normal production. It's not something that you hear on a radio. Of course, you hear on the Kendrick album, you don't want to hear something that's on the radio. But I appreciated him going back to even like when his song I, and even in the video, it's all that same theme in the production, and I appreciate it because I feel like, can we go back? Can we appreciate the certain instrumentals that we hear when we're listening to a track, as opposed to this dumping.
Right.
So that's the only thing. That's the reason you like the song. That's the thing. A lot of times today, when people are hearing music, all they want to hear is the beat. I think when Kendrick did this album, I love the beats, but also it gives me that chance to listen. It's not too overpowering. I like how it still has a West Coast feel to it.
And see, and that's the thing. Not that I'm partial, but I love the West Coast. Don't get it twisted. But I hated the G-Funk era. I hated Warren G's beats. And, I could not listen to. I mean, I did listen. I love that. I'm not going to sit up here and lie and say I didn't listen to Warren G's album, because I did. But I just hated that era.
I understand.
I hated that era. And to hear those P-Funk beats and I hate California Love. Like, I hate those kind.
I forgot you told me that.
I hate that production on that. I hate that.
I forgot you told me
but I guess
to each his own.
Right. And it's not that I'm partial or anything, but I just think that this album, the bars are there, what he's saying is there, where his mind frame was there, but it's just, to me, it lacks a little bit in production, and we kind of talked about with Terrace Martin. I love the All Right Joan, which I just rewind because Pharrell did that.
That's the anthem.
Right. So, I mean,
Let me say this, though. One thing I do notice, like T brought out, the live instrumentation, that's why it sounds like that. These aren't manufactured beats.
Right.
These are
homemade.
He went in the studio and called people who played live instruments.
Right.
And that's what came out. And I give him props for that because unlike most beats that come out today, very rarely do I expect to hear somebody rap over one of those beats that's on that album.
Right.
You don't even want to touch it.
Yeah.
You notice when Black and the Berry came out, there were no freestyles.
Right.
You know what I like? You know what I like in Kendrick's album too? Eminem in a manner, because very rarely do you hear a rapper freestyle over an Eminem beat, because it's like, what could I say that he didn't already say? So
let me ask you this, because we'll be here talking all night about Kendrick Lamar's album. And I don't know if you got this far, but the last song, Mortal Man, is probably going to go down in history as being probably one of the most creative songs in hip hop. The interview with Tupac.
Yeah. It's funny. When I first,
you gotta get to it. It's amazing.
You know what? I almost want to tell you to listen to it while we're talking, but the song is so long.
It's 12 minutes, and when I saw that, I'm like,
yeah, I thought it was
when I look at
tracks.
Right. Well, no. See, when I see that on the album, I'm like, oh God, it's probably some crazy. You might see it on Music Soul Child album. Jill Scott Have It, where they singing, doing some opera stuff. Not that I don't love both of them, but you're looking at it, you're like, oh, it's 12 minutes. Like, well, what is he going to be doing for 12 minutes?
Yeah. I anticipate 12 minutes songs.
Yeah.
Like Erica, 7 minutes, give it to me.
Right. But at the end of this album, I think it's going to be hard to top in 2015.
Yes.
But I think it goes down in history as being one of the best endings.
It's funny because go ahead.
What I was going to say was, I know it's going to be hard to top. I know. But I have full faith that Kendrick will, because his first album, I played it for like 3 months every day. From the moment I woke up to the time I went to bed. And I know the whole story.
Now, what album were you talking about?
Good Kid, Mad City.
Oh, okay.
It was first.
Okay. Right. Because me, personally, I think that Section 80 is his best work to date. That's it. I think that Section 80 is his best work to date.
You know what? And when we talked about this earlier,
right,
I wanted to save it for this.
Mm-hmm.
Section 80 is an incredible body of work.
Mm-hmm.
What might put Good Kid, Mad City over that is the cohesiveness of the project.
Very much so. That's also what put his project above everybody else's project that year. The whole theme, it was very cohesive.
It had a theme. But Section 80 has a theme too.
Yes, it does.
Section 80 has a theme too.
It does.
All right, but we'll be talking. We'll be talking about that forever.
But to answer your question about my impression of Mortal Man, I can remind you, I was up at 6 in the morning.
Right.
So I'm hearing him recite this poem, and I feel like we should mention the fact that you hear bits and pieces of the poem throughout the album.
Yeah, exactly.
Leading up to track 12,
right.
you finally hear the
whole thing. Right.
So as he's done the poem, you hear him say, "That's all I wrote."
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that? 6 in the morning.
Right.
Tupac responds.
Mm-hmm. What? Yeah, exactly. Well, that's how I was.
Yeah,
I was ironing, and I'm like, oh, really? Did he really do that? But listen, on a rating, okay, on an Uncle Briss rating, I rate from 1 to 5. Okay.
I'm talking about the whole
project, the whole project. I'm gonna go down the line.
6.
Okay, so we know she went above and beyond the rating.
All right, So if I rated 4,
No.
it just your extra star will carry it over. Don't worry.
Oh.
So right, give me a 5.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to say a 5, but I'll reserve that until some more time passes.
All right. So you giving it the first quarter?
I'll give it a 4.5.
So when we do the top 10, I might have to have you back on my top 10.
Oh, it's already
Later
top 10.
on.
It's already top 10.
Later on. All right.
It's already number 1 spot. I already claimed it on Facebook already. It's too late.
We only in March.
It don't matter. It don't matter. It don't matter.
Well, on the Uncle Brisk rating, and I'm so crucial. And once again, the only thing that I have a problem with is the production. So I'm going to have to give this album a 4.5.
It's funny how great minds think alike, right?
She said,
no, you can't blow off the 4.5 because that's still critical acclaim.
Right.
And like I said, like at least with me, I reserve the right to give it a 5 later, but 5 for me is classic. Right. Not enough time has passed for me to call it a classic. Right. And I've only sat on it for maybe a couple days. Right.
Okay. So, thank you for joining us. You can find me at Uncle Brisk 30 on Twitter. My YouTube channel is Mr. Uncle Brisk 30. And Def, if you want to tell them how they can follow you.
You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter, Def Da Vinci, DATHDAVINCI.
Okay. T, you want to add? Finish him up?
Yeah. You can follow me on Instagram if you like. One is Brisk is Bliss. Brisk is Bliss. BRISBLISS.
Thank you. All right, and don't forget to check out my boy Prince Got Kicks. All the hottest, latest kicks. Okay. Peace. Stay tuned. Pimp, you ain't been around shit, put your mama in your bitch. Jumped off the porch when I was like 6. Uncle Bobby got the house ready back in 96. Kick in the dough, K9's all in the kitchen way before I even heard of Mike Vick. Mama in the bathroom, Papa at work. Happened on a Sunday, we should've went to church. Look at my shirt, polo on it. Skull cell lift, my logo on it. I feel no up on it. A demon come near and I might throw a spear at the omen. You looking at the 2010 Romans, Empire.